Welcome and thanks for joining us for step 23. Wow, we are halfway through my journey.
Yes, and if you've been tracking with us in step 1, congratulations. Mm-hmm. You may remember that in step 14, the will, the chooser, we learned about the power of our will and that whatever we agree to with our will has power in our life.
Yes, in this step, we talk about some common ways the enemy gets us to use our will against ourselves, including strongholds, inner vows, and judgments.
Yes, these are the weapons the devil uses against us, and we can learn how to fight back or even take an offensive approach rather than defensive.
2 Corinthians 10, 3 and 5 says, "We are human, but we don't wage war as humans do. We use God's mighty weapons, not worldly weapons, to knock down the strongholds of human reasoning and to destroy false arguments. We destroy every proud obstacles that keeps people from knowing God. We capture their rebellious thoughts and teach them to obey Christ."
In this passage, we see that our enemy works to build strongholds. And the building blocks he uses to build a stronghold are human reasoning and false arguments. A stronghold is a strong bias, a belief produced from interpretation of assumptions and speculations.
We act based on what we believe to be true. The way the enemy gets us to use our will against ourselves is to get us to believe something that is not true and react based on that false belief or lie.
Beliefs are created or changed by experiences. The intensity of the experience determines the strength of the belief.
Listen to this. It is not our experience, but what we believe about the experience that gives it power to impact and control our lives.
There are at least 2 levels of belief, opinion and conviction. Opinions are mostly determined by thoughts in the mind connected with a lower level emotional charge, while convictions are strongholds of belief in the heart, created by our interpretation of experiences connected with intense emotion. I'm going to repeat that. Convictions are strongholds of belief in the heart, created by our interpretation of experiences connected with intense emotion.
That's powerful. Thoughts reside in your head, and you can put language to them, while beliefs reside in your heart, and you often don't even know you have them. So, which do you think is easier to change, a thought or a belief?
That's a good question. If you believe the idea or thought in your mind that the Bible is true when it says that God will provide for all your needs according to his riches and glory, but when you're low on money and the rent is due, you become very worried and anxious, then your emotions are indicating what you really believe in your heart.
Maybe your past experience of lack and the negative emotions connected to those experiences created a belief in your heart that is actually opposite of what you know to be true in your head.
Thoughts can be transitory. They pass through the mind without lingering. But with the building blocks of reasoning, assumption, and speculation, a bias, a belief based on our interpretation of assumption and speculations can be built from thoughts.
Verse 4 of 2 Corinthians 10 in the New Living Translation says, "We destroy every proud obstacle that keeps people from knowing God." Strongholds are obstacles. Listen to this. Strongholds are obstacles that keep us from knowing truth.
Yeah, and they're obstacles that we may not even see or recognize, but they're actually preventing us from knowing the truth and causing us to make decisions and be governed by the lies or false beliefs in our heart. So what do we mean by experience creates belief? Well, for example, think about a young man whose mother cheats on his dad, and he's the one to discover the indiscretion. In that experience of intense emotional pain, a lie could be planted in his heart that women can't be trusted.
So now when his girlfriend is a little extra friendly with guys at church, he feels deeply pain and betrayed. His girlfriend's actions today is hitting a place of pain that was never dealt with. And so he reacts somewhat irrationally to his girlfriend's action because he's responding to two levels of pain.
Yes, what's happening today and what happened in the past. It's fine for him to confront his girlfriend for any ways she may truly be out of line, but it's not fair that she has to pay for what his mom did in the past. If the young man gets mad at his girlfriend for innocently talking to another guy at church, his emotions could be revealing a lie or something in his heart that is hidden that he doesn't know about.
A stronghold. The enemy's strategy is to come in moments of intense emotional pain, fear, anxiety, and try to control and manipulate the story we are telling ourselves about the meaning of our experience.
Yeah, he waits for traumatic moments when we are more vulnerable and receptive to believing the lying thoughts and make an incorrect interpretation, which results in a false belief or a stronghold being firmly established in our heart.
Experiences create an opportunity for you to believe something. Whoever is controlling the ideas, thoughts, and messages that help you interpret the meaning of an experience is the one with the power to shape your decisions.
And we respond to our belief with action. Core lies are like the rudder of a ship, unseen, but guiding our entire life, the ways we think and the decisions that we make.
Lance Wallnau says, out of the seed of a decision comes the harvest of a consequence. Some examples of how emotions connected with experience determine our beliefs are maybe you were feeling strong emotions of being lonely, unloved, or unlovable. And in that moment, the enemy lured you into a sexual experience that made you feel good, both physically and emotionally.
And in that experience, maybe of pornography, sexting, maybe same-sex relation or adulterous relationship, he might plant lying thoughts that make you rationalize, assume, and interpret the meaning of that experience, possibly creating a belief in your heart that you need pornography to validate you.
Or make you believe you are a woman in a man's body.
Or vice versa. Or you could believe you married the wrong person and decide to leave your mate.
If there are strong emotions attached to the experience, they can make the untrue thought feel true, which establishes the belief more firmly in our hearts. Many times, what we are upset about is not so much what's happening right now, but the conflict we are experiencing now is triggering a hurt and or lie from the past.
For example, I might have an experience like my parents got a divorce and my father stopped relating to me. And in that experience, I might begin to focus on the pain of my father's disconnection. And the story I tell myself or that the devil presents to me could lead me to wrongly interpret the meaning of the experience of my parents getting a divorce and believe something not true or a lie.
So if your daddy stopped relating to you, what might be a lie or the lie you believe based on your experience? Can you give us an example?
How about I'm not valuable or men will reject me, which makes me feel inadequate, scared, or vulnerable.
And so you respond to the lie by looking for ways to comfort or protect yourself.
Yeah, verse 4 in the Passion Translation says, our spiritual weapons are energized with divine power to effectively dismantle the defenses behind which people hide. When we believe something that's not true, it's a false belief, and it creates a barrier or wall between the truth that defends the lie that we're believing.
A defense is a way to comfort or protect ourselves and avoid pain, anxiety, hurt, and disappointments.
Yeah, and the negative emotions resulting from the false belief or the lie will likely bring with it pain and fear. And so we often unconsciously use defenses to try to comfort and protect ourselves.
And there are any numbers of ways we can defend ourselves.
Yeah, we might withdraw or use excessive busyness to prevent emotional pain. We may strive to be very intellectual and use logic and reason to avoid our pain.
We may control, manipulate, or reject, or blame others to comfort or protect ourselves. We can use all kinds of things like addiction, escape, even ministry to comfort or defend and protect ourselves from further pain.
Going back to my experience of the divorce and the lie, I believe that men will reject me. When I expect that men will reject me, that's probably the vibe I'm going to put out when I walk in a room. It's like, hey, I know you're going to reject me. Go ahead, reject me. And I stick out my quills like a porcupine to protect myself from rejection that I haven't even received yet. And when I do that, I'm acting based on the belief in my heart that men will reject me, not the truth about who I really am.
So now we have others' reaction. Men don't know how to respond to your defense, to your porcupines, so they don't bother to engage with you, and it feels like rejection. Now the event has repeated itself, reaffirming your belief that you are not valuable and men will reject you.
Yeah, how others react to my defense can reproduce the experience and perpetuate the cycle. So now I have a new experience that's reaffirmed the lie, which causes me to continue to defend myself, and then it happens again. And it's just a cycle, this self-fulfilling prophecy that happens.
Yeah. That's why people make comments like, all men are the same.
Yeah, they have a belief based on their experiences.
The enemy plants the lie and bombards us with thoughts that stir our emotions and cause our mind to reason and speculate with the goal to accomplish his objective, to kill, steal, and destroy us or something important to us.
Yeah, maybe our future purpose and destiny, maybe our hope, maybe our family, our important relationships, or even our lives.
Yep.
Anytime the lie is triggered, there can be this insanity that can never be resolved with logic and reason. Like you telling yourself, this is crazy, but the belief in your heart won't let you rest until you act according to that belief.
Sometimes it can be hard to find the truth in the midst of intense emotions and so many messages bombarding our mind. In Acts 21:34, we see a soldier being confused among the midst of all the voices, and it says, some shouted one thing and some others. Since he couldn't find out the truth in all the uproar and confusion, he ordered that Paul be taken to the fortress or the stronghold. He was confused. He don't know what to do.
Yeah. Truth is not just an accurate set of facts. The devil will try to twist truth by presenting you facts and convincing you to interpret those facts incorrectly. Just because the facts are true doesn't mean your interpretation of the facts are true. Jesus is the truth, and the Holy Spirit is the Spirit of truth. So truth must include God's perspective on the facts.
That's right. That's why it is important to always be open to the possibility that the way we see something, your interpretation or what you believe to be true may not be actually true.
Yeah, be willing to ask yourself and others, what if that's not true? And then ask God, what's the truth? How do you see these circumstances? God, what is your perspective on this experience? Whoever knows about how beliefs can create strongholds in our heart, they will have power to manipulate and control us by influencing our interpretation of experiences.
If you long for change in your life, but are tossed to and fro by every wrongly interpreted experience, that it may be time to anchor yourself in the truth that will set you free.
As Ephesians 4:14 says, then we will no longer be immature like children. We won't be tossed and blown about by every wind of new teaching. We will not be influenced when people try to trick us with lies so clever they sound like the truth.
the activation below the Appetizer video on step 23 of my journey will walk you through this process of allowing God to reveal truth that will destroy lies.
Yeah, you might want to bookmark it or make a note of it in your journal and use it as a guide anytime your thoughts and emotions are spinning out of control.
And be sure and join us in the next portion where we will talk more about strongholds and pray a powerful prayer that will set us free from strongholds.
Amen.